also covered what operators we have, right? So what are the different types of operators we have? We have unary, binary, and ternary, right? So these operators are classified based on the number of values they take as input and they perform the operation. If it is taking only one operand and if it is performing the operation, we call it as unary. And if it is taking two values, values are also called as what? Operands, right? If it is taking two values and if it is trying to perform the operation, then we call it as binary. And if it is taking three values and if it is performing an operation, then we call it as ternary operator, right? And we have so many symbols which will be acting as operators, which will be used as part of the operations. So again, we classified them into some categories based on the operations we do, and we are trying to understand them. Sort of which we tried covering arithmetic operators, right? Under arithmetic operators, how many we have? We have totally how many operators under arithmetic? We have plus, we have division and modulus, right? And we have also multiplication. So totally how many operators we have under arithmetic operators? We have 5 operators, right? Plus, minus, multiplication, which is nothing but asterisk symbol. We use the star, and we use, what are the other symbols? We use division, and other one is modulus. So division is used for the purpose of, if you want out of division, if you want the quotient as the result, then use dividing operator. And if you want remainder as the output out of the division, so what you need to use? You need to use the modulus operator, right? So with that, we have covered arithmetic operators. Now let's move on to the next operator, which is nothing but we call it as assignment operator. So what is an assignment operator? And what is the symbol? So how many symbols we have under assignment operators? Let's see this. So assignment operator is nothing but, so if you have a value which you wanted to store in the left side variable, okay, so you will have a value or you will have a variable or you have an expression towards your right side. Okay, so after evaluating whatever the result that you are getting, you wanted to store towards the left side of the variable. So then we go for using assignment operator. Okay, so the symbol that we use for assignment operator is nothing but this one. You're able to see here, right? So this equal to symbol is there, right? So this is the one which we use for the sake of assignment operator. Okay, so an example. So I have a value 10. Now I want to store this value inside a variable. Okay, so this value is there towards my right side. So this is there on my right side. And on my left side, I have a variable. I have a variable called integer a. Okay, so now this value has to be stored here inside this variable. So how I have to tell means by using which operator I need to perform this is nothing but using the assignment operator. Okay, so the right side value, it is going to be stored inside the left side. So this is the left part. So this is what we do. So which operator we use? We use the assignment operator. It's nothing but equal to operator. Okay. Now we have certain rules. Like how we have certain rules on arithmetic operators, we have certain rules even on assignment operators. So what are they? So on the right side, we can write anything. Okay. You can use anything. You can use an expression. You can use value. You can use a variable again to assign into this. You can use anything on the right side. So right side is nothing but after the equal to whatever is on the right, we call it as the right side. So you can use anything. But when it comes to left side, you must use only a variable. Okay. So this should be this part is a variable. Okay. Understood? Give me a minute, guys. Give me a minute. Okay, so let's see some more examples. Let's say I have a variable a. In this, I want to store a value 20. So this is how we write it. Okay, so this is a valid. It is following the rule because you have right side, whatever you wanted to write, you have it. You have a data here. We have a literal here saying 20 here. So this is going to be stored in this variable. So left side, we have a variable here. Okay, now But if you try to have data on the right side, so on the left side, and if you're putting a variable towards your right side, so this is not a valid one. So what should be there according to the first rule? It should always have a variable here, not a value or data. Okay, so there will be always a variable, not anything else. But this side, on the right side, you can have anything. Understood? So what we have the second rule. So what is second rule? So we can use arithmetic operators. We can use what? We can use arithmetic operators along with assignment operators. Okay, so when we are doing this we call it as a compound operation. So this type of operation is called as what? Compound operation. So let's see some examples. Okay, so I have B plus C. Okay, I'm trying to do, there are two variables called B and C. They are holding certain values. Let's say this is holding a value 10 and this is holding a value 30. Okay, so now after getting evaluating is nothing but getting operated. So once the operation is completed, okay, once the result is executed, okay, so what will be the result actually? So it is going to be 40. So once the result is evaluated, you are able to get the result. What you wanted to do, you wanted to assign it to a variable. Okay, so put it on your left side. Okay, so now what I'm doing here with the assignment operator, I'm also trying to use what? A arithmetic operation. Okay, and we call this as what? Compound assignment. So we are performing an arithmetic operation on the right side, and whatever the result that is being coming out of that particular operation is being assigned to the left side variable. Okay, such type of operation we call it as what? Compound operation. Okay, and again, you cannot do this. You cannot put this on the left side, and you cannot put the variable on the right side. Okay, so this is again wrong. Okay, now if you want, you can do like this. If you have a variable and you have another variable, so this variable value has to be assigned, stored in this A. So you can do this, and B is there, and you want A to be stored in A. Yeah, you can also do this. Okay, so which means that you, on the right side, you can have an expression, you can have an arithmetic expression, you can have a variable, you can have a value. Okay, anything can come on the right side, but whereas on the left side, you should always have a variable. So is it clear, guys, till there? And next, we can do nesting. What we can do? We can do nesting with the assignment operators. Okay, so we can do nesting with assignment operators. We can nest the assignment operators. So what is this nesting is nothing but, so let's say I have integer A, I have integer B, I have integer C, I have integer D. So total how many variables are there? 4 variables are there. So all are of what type? Int type only. So instead of declaring them, instead of repeating the type, if you have if you have so many variables, and if you think that the variable type is same, so instead of declaring everything in a separate line, again and again mentioning the data type, again and again mentioning the data type, you can do like this. Instead of writing like this, you can do like this. As the type of all these variables are same, you can just mention the data type once, and you can use comma separator, and you can also declare your variable like this. Okay, so this is allowed. You can do like this. Now what is nesting? Okay, now for all these variables, I want a value, common value to be assigned to it. So how basically we can do it? Once you declare it, you can say, let's say I want all the variables to hold a value 10. So I can do like this, right? 10 is equal to 20, A is equal to 10, sorry, 10, B is equal to 10, C is equal to 10, D is equal to 10. So all are trying to hold a common value, right? So instead of writing it again like this, you can do nesting to it. You can nest it. So how to do nesting here? There's nothing but you can say A is equal to B is equal to C is equal to D is equal to 10. You can do simply like this. Okay. So this we call it as what? We call it as nesting. So we can also do what? Nesting with the assignment operator. Okay. So while declaring itself, you can never assign a value to it. Okay. First, you need to declare it. So you cannot do like this. You cannot do like this. You can, like you are saying the data type here. After that, you are trying to directly use the assignment operator along with nesting. So this is not valid syntax. You cannot do like this. First, you need to do this way, and later on, you can do this. Okay, but don't try to use assignment operator while declaring the variable itself. You cannot do this. First declare it, and then only you need to perform the nesting. Okay, remember this rule. Okay, now also I can do like this. What I can do, I can put like this: int a is equal to 10, b is equal to 10. So I just need to use a comma, not semicolon. Okay, so a is equal to 10, b is equal to 10, c is equal to 10, comma, d is equal to 10. Okay, so I can also write in this way. If you say, if you have same data type for all the variables, so for a, b, c, d, all these variables data type is integer. Okay, for all these variables, the data type is integer. So you can also write it like this, but we don't call it as nesting. So this is not called nesting. So what is nesting here? Just do in this way, we call it as nesting. Understood? Is it clear, guys? Is it clear till here? So you're able to understand the assignment operators, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and there is something called as compound assignment operation, which will do the typecasting automatically. So we'll see that in the future classes. For now, just understand assignment operator is nothing but we use a symbol called as equal to, where on the right side you can write anything, and on the left side you need to use only a variable. Okay. And when it comes to the rules, that is the first rule. And second rule is what? What is the second rule? We can use assignment operator along with arithmetic operators. Okay, so this we call it as compound assignment. And thirdly, we can do the nesting to the operators. And what are the valid way of nesting it, and what are the invalid way of nesting? We just seen them, right? Now let's move on to the next operators. Okay, the next we have comparison operator. We can also call it as relational operators. Okay, we can call them as comparison operators, or we can also call them as relational operators. So what are these basically? So if you want to compare two values, okay, or if you want to write a condition, you want to compare what? You want to compare two values. Like let's say I have value 10 and 20. So I wanted to see which among these two, I wanted to know which one is greater. Which one is greater than the other? I wanted to check that. So what is this basically called as? We are trying to check the comparison. So what comparison we are trying to check? Greater than or not? Okay. So whether, I mean, I wanted to check which one is greater. Okay. We are trying to check the comparison of those two values. So when you wanted to do a comparison, or if you wanted to write any condition. So what is the condition? What are conditions are? Nothing but conditions are which evaluates to a Boolean value. Okay, conditions are what? Conditions are the expressions which will always evaluate to a Boolean value. So you know what is a Boolean value, right? True or false. So we write some conditions. Like let's say if A is greater than B. Okay, if I have A and I wanted to know that A is greater than B, then I wanted to do something. So I wanted to perform certain operations based on some conditions. Okay, if you want to write such conditions, then we can use what? We can use comparison operators. We can use comparison operators, or we can use relational operators. Understood, guys? So comparison operators is nothing but it is used for comparing two values or to write conditions. Okay, so remember, so the condition what we are using for what we are trying to write will should always what? Should always return a Boolean value. Remember this. It will always returns Boolean value. Okay, the condition that you are writing is always going to return a Boolean value. And we have how many operators under comparison? So relational operators or comparison operators, we have totally 6. What are they? So these are all the operators that we have under comparison operators. We have less than, we have greater than, we have less than or equal to, we have greater than equal to, and we have equals to, and we have not equals to. So remember these symbols. Okay, so these are the symbols which we use for the sake of comparison or for writing conditions. All right. Now we have, there are also rules for what? Comparison operators. So what are the rules? So now if you see the first four, so 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have these four, right? So these four should be used with only numerical types. Okay, you know what are numerical type, right? Numerical types are nothing but numbers. Okay, so you can use all these four for the sake of comparing, what? Numerical types only. Okay, so but when it comes to these two, we have these two, right? So these two can be used along with numerical types, also with Boolean types. But whereas these four should be used by what? With only numerical types. So that is the rule here. Okay, so these four should be used with only numerical types, and they should never be used with Boolean types. Now, when it comes to these two, they can be applied on Boolean types and also numerical types. Okay, so what is the condition? You should never combine both. You should never combine these two. Either if you are trying to compare, try to compare both on numerical types only. I have A, which is a numerical type. I have B, which is also a numerical type. If both are numerical types, then only we need to what? Then only we need to use these two operators, equals to and not equals to. And if you have both Boolean types, then only you need to use. Like let's say example. Let's take an example. Like let's say I have A greater than B. Okay. So before that, let me type. So I have int A is equal to 10 and int B is equal to 20. Both are what? Both are having the values of numerical types. So I'm saying A is greater than B. Okay. So this is always what? This is always valid. Okay. You can do this. So now let's say I have Boolean B is equal to true. Okay, I have another variable, let's say C here. Boolean C is equal to true here. Now, if I'm trying to do C greater than B, if I'm trying to do this, then it is going to be an error. It's going to be an exception. You cannot do like this. You cannot use this operator with two different with these two combinations. You can use only what? You can only use numericals if you are using this. Now, if I'm trying to use this, let's say I have another one. Boolean D is equal to false. Okay. Now let's say I'm trying to do like this. A equal to C. What is A here? Where is A is a numeric. What is C here? C is a Boolean. So according to second rule, you cannot perform this. According to second rule, what you can perform? You can only do this. C equal to D. You can do this. Okay. Or you can do C not equal to D. You can also do this, but you can never do this. This is numeric, this is Boolean. Okay, so always try to have the combination, and the combination should hold the same types. You cannot mix and match them. Okay, is it clear, guys? So these operators are used for the sake of what? Comparing variables, two values. Okay, if you have two values and if you want to compare them, whether they are greater, whether they are equal, whether they are not equal to, whether they are less than or equal to. So if you want to check their comparison, then we need to go for comparison operators or relational operators. So these are the 6 symbols that falls under conditional also comparison operators. Okay, so and according to the rules, first 4 should be used only with numerical types, and second 2 can be used with numerics and also can be used with booleans. Okay, you can use them with the same types, but you cannot combine them. Okay, don't combine them and don't use them. Right? So that's about comparison. Now next we have next operator we have is unary minus. So what is the operator we have? Unary minus. So this operator we use for the sake of changing the sign of a given number. Okay, if we have a number, let's say I have a given positive number and I wanted to change that number sign. Okay, now I wanted to change it to minus. Okay, so to change the sign of a given number, then we need to use the operator called unary minus. Okay. So if you want to take an example, so let's say I have an integer a is equal to 10. Okay. So now basically what is a? A is 10, and what is 10 here? This is a positive number. This is what? This is a positive number. Okay. So now I wanted to change this sign. I want to change the sign of a. So what I can do? I can say again a equal to minus of a. Okay, so as a is doing what? A is holding a value 10 now. Till now, there is in the memory, I have a value 10 and a is pointing to this. Now, what I did in the second thing, I'm just trying to say minus a here. So immediately what happens? This value will be moved to my negative value. So from positive to, it becomes a negative value. If you try to print this, okay, if you try to print this, then the value that will be printed is what? Minus 10. Okay, you can check that. Okay, so that is about unary minus. So the symbol that we use for unary minus is what? Nothing but this. Okay, so this is the symbol that we use for the sake of unary minus. Okay, and this is used for the sake of what? Changing the sign of a given number. All right. Now, let's move on to the next operators. So the next operators we have is increment operator or decrement operators. What is it we have? We have increment or decrement operators. Okay, so basically what we can do with these operators, we can increase or decrease the value of a given variable by 1. Okay, I have a variable which is having a value 10. Okay, I just wanted to increase with one value. Okay, then I can go for using increment operator. And I just wanted to decrease the value from 10 to 9. Then I can go for using the decrement operator. Okay, just if you want to increment or decrement a value by 1, then we need to go for increment or decrement operators. So what are the symbols that we have here under increment and decrement? It's nothing but 2 plus symbols and 2 minus symbols. Okay, so these 2 plus symbols are called as increment and 2 minus symbols are called as decrement. Okay, so this is called increment and this is called decrement. Okay, now how this based on the usage, based on where this particular symbol is used, based on that we call it as post increment or pre increment. Okay, post increment or pre increment. I have a variable and the increment operator is coming after the variable. What we call it as? We call it as post. I have first the increment operator and later I have a variable. Then I call it as what? Pre increment. Okay, so this is what pre increment. So what is pre increment? First I have the symbol and then I have a variable. So we call it as what? We call it as pre increment. So what pre increment will do? First, it will increase the value and next it will be used in the application. It increases the value and then it will be used. Okay. So example, I have a variable a and it is having a value 10. Now I wanted to increase this value. I want what? Want to increase this value. Like what I'm doing, I'm taking one more variable p and I'm just doing what? P equal to, I'm saying plus of a. So what is there in a? 10. So what will be assigned this particular to this particular p here now? P is going to have a value 11. Okay, in pre-increment now. So 11 will be evaluated first and afterwards it is going to store in the P. Okay, when in pre-increment first, this is going to be performed. Okay, increment operation is performed, value becomes 11 from 10 and it is going to be stored in the P. Okay, here A is holding value 10. Now what I'm doing, I'm creating P. Inside the P, what I'm doing, I'm incrementing the value of P. So it becomes 11 and it will be stored in the P. Now, if I try to print this P, so what it will print? It will say I am 11. Okay. And if you try to print A will also say it is 11. Okay. As I'm incrementing A here A will also get increased. Okay, a value is increased, and whatever the value that is increased, it is also assigned to P. As I'm assigning it to P, it will also be assigned to P. Got it? So what happens in pre-increment? First, value will be increased, and next it will be used in the application. Now, what happens with post-increment? Let's take the same example here. So let's say I have a is equal to 10, and I'm saying P equal to a plus plus. I'm saying a plus plus. P is equal to a plus plus. Now, here first what happens? First value will be assigned, and then it will be increased. Okay, first it will be used, and then it will be incremented. So now here, if I try to print P will be still 10 only. Okay, P will be what? P will be still printed as 10 only. In this line itself, if you try to print P will be still holding the value called 10 only. Okay. Now, if you try to print after this, if you try to print A, okay, A will be printed as 11. After this line, if you try to print P will be still 10 only, whereas A will be printed as 11. Okay. In the same line, this value is not going to be incremented. Okay. So first the value will be used, and then it will be incremented. Okay. So this is going to be a bit confusion. You'll have a confusion with this particular operators initially, but as you keep on using them, you get a clarity. Okay, don't worry, but just try to understand the statement. Okay, just try to understand what it is. Okay, so but it will be digested after you practice some examples. Then it will be digested for you. Okay. Also, we'll be doing those examples. We'll be using those symbols in the future classes. Slowly, the confusion with these variables will be solved. Okay, but if you have to talk about the statement, what it is? First, value will be incremented, and then it will be used. Whereas post, first value will be used, and then it will be increased. Okay, same comes with pre-decrement and post decrement. Okay, so now if I say A is equal to 10, and if I assign minus A to P, so first what happens? Decrement will happen. So 10 becomes 9, and this will be stored in P. Now if I try to print P will be printed as 9. Also A will be printed as 9. Okay, now in the post decrement, what happens? First value will be used, and then it will be decreased. Okay, so if I say A is equal to 10, okay, and P is equal to A minus. So what happens here? Still the value will be 10 only. 10 will be assigned to A because it will not perform the decrement here. Post decrement will not happen. First value will be used. So value is used to P, used by P. Now if I print P will be 10, whereas A will be printed as 9. Okay, after that line, if you try to print, it will be printed as 9. Okay, so you can check these examples. You can write a program and you can check them. Okay, or otherwise, let me open. Let me write a program. Let me show you. Let me demo this. Okay, so let me write a program. Give me a minute. Let's write a program. Give me a minute. So what happened? Just a minute. Okay. Okay. So let me write a program. Let me take a class. Class name is what are these operators? What are these operators? We call them as increment or decrement operators, right? We say INC, DEC, operators, examples. Okay, let me name this class as that. And what is that we need? So your JVM always looks for main method for executing the program, right? So let me write the main method. So what is the main method? Syntax: public static void main should take a string array as an argument. Okay. Now what should I do here? So what is that I wanted to do? I want to test the pre-increment and post-increment operations. So let me say int a is equal to 10. Okay, I'm taking int a is equal to 10. Now, what I want to do, I want to first initialize a variable here. Okay, so I want to initialize a variable p, and I want to assign what I wanted to do pre-increment of a. And now in this line, if I say out.println, now if I try to print p here, so what is the value that will be printed here? Can you tell me what is the value that will be printed?
11.
So it has to print.
So
Yeah, it has to print 11. Let's see whether it is printing that or not. And also let me print a. Let me print a. So what should be the value that should be printed by a?
11.
7.
Yeah. So a will be also increased, and whatever is incremented that will be assigned to p. So first it performs the increment operation and then it assigns the value. So as that is the reason, p and a is going to show you the value as 11 only. So let's execute this. Let me save this program. Let me say increment or decrement. Okay, let me save it. And folder, say day 8. Let me give the extension as .java and let me save it here. Now let me go there to this folder. So where do I have? Let me go to this folder, students folder, and yeah, here we have the class. I'll go to the terminal. Let's open the terminal. I'm in day 5. Let me go back and let me enter into day 8. Okay, so we use a command called cd here. Okay, now I am in day 8. So what is that I need to do first? I need to compile the program. So I need to use the command called javac and pass the file name with the extension actually, because we are doing the compilation. Let me click on the enter. If everything is okay, if there are no compilation issues, it gives me what? A .class file. So is it generated? Yeah, it is generated. Now let me execute it. Let me execute it. Before that, let me clear the previous things. Okay, for which we use the command clear. Okay, now let me use the command called java and let me call increment decrement without giving the extension. Let me click. So we're able to see the output as 11 and 11. Okay. Now let's do the other one. Okay. Now let me comment out all this. Okay. So I'll try to comment out till here. So how to comment? Because I have multiple lines. So if I want to comment, what are comments? What are comments, guys? What are comments? Why do we use comments? So we discussed the topic called as comments, right? So they basically describe the code to the other programmers. Okay, if a programmer wants to understand the code, instead of looking at the code, if he wants to understand the code, what is written, you can take the help of comments. Okay, that helps him to understand the code more faster than looking at the code. Okay, for which we use the comments. So how many types of comments we have? We have single line comment, multi-line comments, and documented comments. Now, single line comments is used for purpose of what? Used for the purpose of if you have a single line, you wanted to comment in a single line, then we go for single line. I have multiple lines and I wanted to comment them, then we go for multi-line. Now here, how many lines I wanted to comment? I want this line to be get commented and this line also to be get commented. So then I need to use what? Single line or multi-line?
Multi-line.
Yeah, I need to use multi-line. And what are comments in a Java program? They are non-executable statements. So this is the syntax, right? Now these two are what? Commented. Okay, now those two comments will not be executed. So let me use it for, let me write a comment here on top of this also. So what is this? This is we are testing pre-increment. Okay, pre-increment operation. Okay, now let me say this is post increment operation. Okay, so I'm saying this as post increment operation. I'm declaring again A. So I'm assigning a value as 10. I'm taking one more variable P. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to do A plus to it. I'm doing post increment, not pre increment now. So post increment. Now at the during this time, what is the P value will be there? What is P value? P is going to hold. So in
10.
post increment, what happens? First value will be used and then it gets incremented. Right. Now what is A? A is 10. So it will not increment it. What it will do, it will use it. First value will be used. Used means, so whatever is there in A, first that will move to P and then it will be incremented. So if that is the case, what will be there in P?
10.
Yeah. What should be there in A?
11.
So shall we test this? Let's see this. Let me save this program and let me compile this again. So I did some changes, right? So as I did some changes, I need to first compile it again. Okay. So for which I use the javac command again. So when you do some changes to the code, you need to what? You need to recompile the program. If you don't recompile, the latest changes will not come into the .class file. And if you execute it, whatever we have the previous code, that is only going to be executed. Okay. So let me say increment operator here. I have to remove the extension and let me execute it. So did we get the same output, what we expected? Yes, we are able to get the same expected output. Okay. Now let me also comment this. Okay, let me comment these two again because I wanted to test what? I wanted to test the decrement operation now. So first we'll do pre-decrement. Okay, so pre-decrement operation. Okay, so I'm taking int a is equal to 10 and int p. I'll say p. P is equal to what? I'm doing pre-decrement. So what is the symbol I have to use? 2 minus followed by a. So now in this case, can you tell me what will be the result?
9.
So P will be 9 and what will be A?
9.
A will also be 9. P and A both should be 9. Okay, let me save this program. Okay, let me recompile the program again. Okay, now if yeah, it is successful. Now let me execute it. So yes, we are able to get value result as 9 and 9. Okay, now let me comment these two also. First, let me copy these two and later let me comment this. Okay, and the last one I want to do is let's test post decrement operation. Okay, so post decrement means these two has to come after the variable. Okay, so now can you guess what is the result? So what will be P first? First it yeah. So it will use the value and then it performs the operation. So P will be 10 and A will be what? A will be what?
9.
Yeah, so A should be decremented. So it should be 9. So let's save this. Let me set Control S and then let me recompile the program and let me execute it. So 10 and 9. So what we have expected, the expected result has came. So I understood, right? What is pre-increment and post-decrement? This, it is going to increase the value or decrease the value by 1. Got it? Okay, now let me share my screen again. Okay, so now talking about the rules, how many values we are passing to these operators for increment and decrement operators? How many values we are passing means how many operands we are passing to it? 2 values or only 1 value? If you see here, how many values? So I have the symbol, right? minus minus a. To minus minus, how many values I'm passing? Values are nothing but, so yeah, you know what are values, right? What is date and what is the value? So how many values I'm passing to it? If you, let's check the example. So I'm saying plus plus of a, or minus minus of a, or I can say a plus plus or a minus minus. Okay, so if I take this operator to this operator, how many values I'm passing? 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? How many?
Single
One.
value.
A single value. That's what. So increment decrement operators are what? They are falls under unary category. So they perform operation by taking a single value. Okay, it takes a single value, and on top of the single value, it performs the operation. So it falls under what? Unary operator. Okay, so now, so what is the first rule? You need to use them with a single value. Okay, so plus plus of a, or minus minus of a plus plus, or a minus minus. You just need to use a single value to it. So, and we never write, we should never write what? We should never use increment or decrement operator to any value or expression or constant. Okay, so you know what, talking about a constant is a value which will never change. Okay, so if you declare a constant, so how to declare a constant, we'll see it in the future class. But there is a way we can declare a constant. Constant means what? Once you pass a value, and that value is never going to change. It is always going to have the same value. If I give 10 as a value to it, and if it is never changing, then we call that as a constant. Okay, so now you cannot pass what? You cannot use increment decrement operators with what? You cannot use them with a value or expression or constant. Okay, so you cannot use them with any of these things. Then with what we are trying to use them? So till now we have used them, right? So with what we tried using them?
Single operand.
Variable. Okay, if I say it can never be used with any of these, so we used only variable here. Okay, you can use them with variable. Yeah, it is single value only, but that value should be what? So let's say I have 7. Can I say 7 as a value? So I can say 7 as a value, right? 7 is a value. Now, can I, this is a value, right? Can I do like this? 7 plus plus? No, you cannot do this. Okay, so you cannot use increment decrement operator with value or expression or constant. So what is an expression? Let me say I have expression like this, a plus b. Can I say this as an expression? So this is an expression, right? Expression means a combination of a sequence of organizing the variables and constants, right? It is an equation.
Yes.
So I have this. So to this, to this expression, can I do like this? No, you cannot do this. This is wrong. Okay. Now, what is the other thing we are trying to talk about? Constant. So in Java, we use a keyword called as final, okay, before the variable declaration. Okay, so I have this. Okay, and I'm trying to do what now? I'm trying to do a plus plus. If you try to do this, this is a constant. This is, we call this as what? We call this as constant. So for constant, if you're trying to perform a increment or decrement operation, you cannot do this. Got it? So you can never perform increment decrement to a value, to an expression, or for a constant. Okay. So what you can do? You can only use it with a variable. A plus plus, a minus minus, minus minus a, a minus, sorry, plus plus a. Got it? So with a variable only, you can do it. And you cannot do any of these actions. Understood? Now, the third rule is we can never nest increment decrement operators. It is not possible. Okay, we can never nest increment or decrement operator. So what is nesting means? So what is nesting means? If you try to say plus plus of a, okay, and again to it, if you're trying to say plus plus, you can never do this. It's not possible. You can never nest So you cannot perform nesting on increment or decrement operators. Got it? You can never do this. This is wrong. Now coming to fourth. So we can apply increment decrement operators. We cannot apply increment decrement operators on Boolean data types. Okay, I have a Boolean. I have a Boolean data type. Let's say A is equal to true. If I say A plus plus, this is always going to be wrong. You can never do this. Got it? So on Boolean data types, you cannot perform increment or decrement operators. Got it? So those are the rules that you need to follow along with increment and decrement operators. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and the last one, we have logical operators. Okay, as we are running out of time, so I'll continue this tomorrow. So we need to cover logical operators, and we need to cover bitwise operators. Okay, so logical operators, it will take time. Also bitwise operators also, it will take time. Okay, so I think maybe tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, we will be covering only operators. Okay, so and we'll be using them extensively. When we move on to control statements, there we'll try to write so many programs and we'll be using these operators a lot. So that's the reason you need to understand these operators. Okay, if you want to do any mathematical operation or if you want to perform any operations, so all the writing conditions and all always involves in these particular using these operators. So that's the reason we are trying to understand these operators, and there are a lot has to come about these operators, but I'm just trying to talk about the basics around this. Okay, whenever it is necessary, I'll be able to introduce the other concepts around these operators. Okay. For now, just try to remember whatever the operators that we have encountered. So if you see a symbol, with that symbol, what is the type of operation you can perform, you should be in a position to understand that. You should be in a position to say what it is, what it will do. Is it clear, guys? All right. So we'll continue about logical operators tomorrow. So I'll send these notes and that example. Okay, just try to practice that. And yesterday I asked you how you are able to get that -4 and 4. So yesterday we took some expression, right? You people are able to understand that? Already someone is able to tell me that arithmetic operators. So we have seen some expression, and I asked you to use the Bodmer's rule and to tell me the output. Remember that?
Yes.
So you're able to understand that? You people are able to understand that? Like I have used this expression 2 plus, sorry, just a minute. So I use something like 2 minus x into 10 divided by 3. So this result will give you -4. So you understood how this got how this got evaluated using Bodmer's rule?
Yes, sir.
Everyone? Yeah, you think this is you answered me yesterday, right? I'm unable to see the name, so
Yes.
that's it, I'm not mentioning it. So other people, you are
Yes,
able to
sir.
understand this? If not, let me tell you how it got how it got evaluated. So when the presidents is having the when the president is of same presidents, okay, if you are using symbols and those symbols are having same presidents, then it will execute from left to right. Okay, now if you take here out of this, and this, so which is having highest precedence? Into and divided by, right? So more than minus, into and divided by are having more preference, and there are two here. So this time what happens? First it will get executed from right to left. So first what will happen? First what will get executed? 10 by 3 will get executed. So what will be the result of 10 by 3? When you divide 10 by 3, what happens? What is the result that we will get? 3 point something. Leave it. What is it? What are the decimal values? So you'll get 3.6 or 3.5 or something, right? 3.1 or something. Right. Now what happens? What is there in x actually? The value in x is equal to 2. Okay. So this will get multiplied with what? 3. So 3 into 2, what happens? It becomes 6. Now 2 minus 6, how much it is? minus 4. You understood, right? So 6 is carrying a sign as what? Minus. So 2 minus 6. So the result is minus 4. You understood that, right? Now let's take the other one, the other example which you have taken. So what is that? What is the other expression I have given? X into 10. Is this what I have given? X into 10 divided by 3 plus 2, right? So now here what happens? So among this symbol, so which is having a highest precedence? So into n divided by is having highest preference, then plus these two are having same. These two are having same preference. Now again it will execute from right to left. So on the right side, first what we have? Dividend symbol, and next we have multiplication. So this again comes what? 3 dot something. So always this is going to return you a integer value, not the decimal value. So it becomes 3. Okay, so now this get multiplied with x. So x is holding what? 2. 2 into 3 what? It gives you 6. So what is the, just a minute. What is the output that we got? So this actually, instead of plus, let me write minus here. So we're doing minus, right? So 6 minus 2. What is the output? You'll get 4. If I say if it is plus here, then it will return you 6 plus 2, 8. Okay, if I'm using plus symbol there, then it is going to be 8. If I'm using minus symbol there, it is going to be 4. But you understood the preference, right? When they are having the same preference, then from right side to left side, it will get executed. Got it? You understood this, or you're not able to understand this? Now, if you're able to get the result as 4, let's say 2 into 10 divided by 3 minus 2. So these two are having same preference, right? So when these two are having, let's say in X we have 2. 2 into 10, how much it will come? 20. 20 divided by 3, how much? What is the value you'll get?
6.
6 minus 2. So this is still giving you 4. So the same way, let's try to do it for 2 minus x into 10 divided by 3. Okay. So what is 2 so these two will be executed first, right? 2 into 10, how much? This is going to still give you 20 divided by 3. It is going to give you what? 6. So 2 minus 6, again it is going to give you minus 4. So either ways we do, what happened? The preference is going to be the same and it is going to give the same value. But the evaluation process is always going to be, it is going to take the important place here. Got it now?
Yes, sir.
So basically, I mean to say it is having the highest preference, right? So that's the reason that get executed first. Got it? It will get executed first, and whatever it is having the least preference, it will execute later. So as plus and minus are having least preference here, that's the reason it is getting executed in that way. And I'm trying to talk about the in which order it is trying to execute the remaining part, whether from right side or the left side. Got it, guys? So if you're still not able to understand, it's okay. Leave it. We'll talk about it in future examples. Okay, you'll get a clarity in future examples. Okay, so don't worry about this much. So we'll see it in future classes. Like we'll take some more examples at the time. So when some complex examples will come up, so you'll be able to understand it and you'll be able to evaluate it to the right side. All right, guys. You have any questions? So not on this, on today's topic. On today's topic, do you have any questions? Anyone is having any questions? Like we have covered assignment operators, we have covered unary operator, we have covered a comparison, and we have covered increment and decrement operators. So on all these, do you have any questions? Okay, if you still have any questions and if you're not able to recollect now, so post me those questions in our group, okay? I'll answer you there. All right, guys, I'll catch you up in tomorrow's session. Bye, guys.